So Palantir has recently joined the S&P 500, leading a significant surge in its stock price. What advantages does Palantir bring to the index, and what's the potential risk for investors considering this company?
Palantir is an incredibly controversial company. I think Peter is probably one of the smartest people in Silicon Valley ever. I think Alex is a great CEO. The downsides of it is the surveillance state, policing, immigration. That can be very tricky. But the upside is the innovation that it does bring. I know a lot of people have been asking about this, and I know they've had a tremendous run. But people act as if Palantir is Nvidia, and it's not. If it gets back down to $34 or $32, I would love to enter there. But I definitely believe like this is more of a principle-based investment. So like if you don't care about how the technology could be used to police us and police people and immigration concerns, have at it. But just ethically, it's kind of hard for me to put my all behind that company, being African American in this country. But I do think there's a lot of innovation there, and given the political landscape and as things heat up, the company definitely does have some value. But I think you have to make a moral decision on if you want to invest there or not. And to be very clear, every Fortune 500 company has some ills with it, especially once you get in the top 10. So you can make the argument for Apple and Nike and Tesla. They all have done some harm, but it's kind of hard to want to invest in this company, being a African American that was born in this country.
The moral investing. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Just performance wise, over the past month, it's been up 18%. On the last week, I would see since it was announced it's going to the S&P, it saw a jump. Year to date, it's up 127%, and over the last 2 years, it's up 400%. So we saw when it IPO'd, we saw it pull back in 2022, but since that point, again, up 400%. This is one of those things, man. And we had the opportunity in Davos to sit inside of Palantir's little headquarters that they had set up, heard some of the things that they're doing in terms of security. They were recently awarded a $100 million contract with the U.S. Army to streamline AI infrastructure capabilities. And so that contract, their system, the Maven Smart system, gives them access to the Army, the Air Force, Space Force, Navy, and the U.S. Marines. So under that deal, Palantir's platform would support AI battle space awareness, global integration, force management, logistics, joint fires, and targeting workflows. Sounds like a defense system that's for the United States Army. And so if you think, obviously there's a moral side, but if you're talking about companies that you don't see going anywhere,
they'll be around for a long time.
If the United States government or the United States Armed Defense System is using them for all these areas, you can see that this is going to be a longevity play. And they're just getting started. They're just getting started. But yeah, there is that part of it. It started out as, hey, we're going to use this for counterterrorism. And you can obviously see it has grown into something much more than that.
Much more robust.
It starts there, and then it turns into a personal surveillance situation. And then we'll have a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. So everyone who keeps asking about Northrop Grumman and all, I'm like, I get you, but Palantir is eating that lunch when Anduril goes public. Going to eat a lot of lunch in that space. So, it's just a moral thing, but you can't argue with the returns, and you can't argue with Peter's insight as well. Him and Sam are very similar, that they invested in companies and played the background for a long time while they built the empire they wanted to deploy. And it's interesting enough that it's both based around software to be able to help governments and countries at scale.
Right. Yeah. How do you stop them from implementing the software in other countries? Or do you?
You don't. We're in a global market. As long as they serve our allies, they'll be fine. But what I'm seeing with Palantir, they're making a moat to have advanced weapon technology systems in play. And as long as we're weaponizing, no pun intended, our allies, they'll be great. Going back to that whale client philosophy that OpenAI is following, would you rather have, and I know people get on me about pricing, but would you rather have 7 or 8 clients that pay you $2 billion each? Or would you rather have 30,000 clients that's paying you $15 million? Much better to get the whale. So if they only serve 4 or 5 governments and it's at 8 billion a pop, not a bad business model. Not a bad
Yeah.
business model.
Yeah.
But question for everyone: are you going to invest in Palantir if you are black and or brown?
Black CEO.
Yes, shout to him.
Yeah.
Shout to my guy. Great CEO too, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, real quick, you gotta
power fist.
Yeah, have to. Black Lives Matter.
So reports indicate 23andMe, they went public. I think it was like $10. Then they dropped
Yeah.
to like 30 cents. And every one of the board members resigned in disagreement with the CEO. Now the CEO saying that they're going to take the company back private again.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this is a drastic drop off from $10 to under 50 cents.
34 cents right now.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
in a short period of time, and then going public, trying to go back private. What's the future of this company?
When I first saw this on you guys' page, I was shocked. I mean, the performance of the stock has been horrendous, but when everyone stepped down, that signaled trouble. My first thought was, if you're going private, it's a lot easier to sell that data than if you're a publicly traded company. I don't know if there'll be the benefactor. The same way whenever there's a cyber attack and all of our data gets leaked or sold, allegedly. I wonder in the next few years, will they take this data with the advent of AI and have derivatives of that data that are sold off to other companies for other purposes? I'll keep it clean like that. So, but the stock has performed terribly. The shit worse than the NFT, worse than the meme stock. But I think the right thing has been done. But when the entire board steps down, we'll talk about the music industry later, about a bunch of people stepping down. That's never a good sign when people step down in mass like this. But what do you guys think? Do you think this is going to take the company in the right direction, or do you think it's misguided to go private?
The company has never made money. It has never been profitable since it IPO'd in 2020.
Yep.
Which is interesting. I think the idea was great. I think they're taking it private after everybody steps down. Obviously, red flag, red flag. I think what's going to happen is somebody's going to acquire this. I think from a biotech standpoint, from a genomic standpoint, somebody's going to look at the value of the data that they've already collected, having people take their DNA, send it in, and somebody's going to use that, all the data that they've collected already, and find benefit for it. So I think acquisition is the next step, which is, I mean, there's still going to be a buy out there, but for anybody that's invested in it, yeah, that this is tough. This is a tough fall. From
$13 to 34 cents.
34 cents. Yeah. Yeah.
That's ugly.
Super ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the CEO's name is Ann Wojcicki. So
kudos to her.
Yeah, kudos to her. I mean, it was her idea. I know her sister recently passed. Her sister was the former CEO of YouTube. She passed recently. So there might be, personal situations going on. And maybe some focus was lost along the way. But yeah, this is a tragic fall.
Yeah, this space is promising, but between this and Theranos, if I was investing in this space, I would stay away for 10 years until you can find a viable way to do something with the data. And it's interesting that, like, with all the GLP-1 drugs, that no healthcare company took a stab at wanting to get that data. Not Lilly, not Novo, not United Healthcare. Like, no one wanted, because you would think that would be an easy acquisition target.
Well,
no one wanted to touch
it. Legally can't get the data. I'm pretty sure it's HIPAA laws against that.
Yeah.
So it might not be as easy transferable legally to just give somebody's DNA. African ancestry.
If you want to send mine, though, you send me a little attachment file.
Oh, it's a data breach. Another one.
Sorry, we were hacked.
Sorry. They took over our computers.
African ancestry. You familiar with that company?
Yeah.
Give us the history on it.
Well, they're one of these companies, but they do it from African American standpoint, as far as like, so these companies, they do it like they'll do your families from West Africa,
Yeah.
Germany, and they do like, they just, it's more boring. But they were the ones, African ancestry. They went to like all of the different tribes in Africa and actually got DNA from them. So they pinpointed down to the tribe. So they're like, your family's from the Fulani tribe in northern Nigeria, or your family's from this tribe in Mali. So it's like a lot of times for black people in America, black people anywhere in Western Hemisphere, honestly, whether you're in America or Jamaica or Trinidad or Brazil or Colombia, you didn't start there unless you're a Native American, but I won't even get to that point. But for the most part, there was millions of Africans that was transported from Africa to the Caribbean, America, and South America. So that gives you some level of clarity, not only like the region that your ancient ancestors came from before they were shipped over to the Americas, but like specifically what tribe they belong to. So yeah, that's a little bit. But it's like specifically for like black people in the diaspora, because obviously everybody doesn't have that same curiosity. But if you are not familiar with exactly where you came from, then that's the one that's actually designed for like black people in the diaspora.
The failed scientist and doctor in me wonders if that data will be sold to make targeted genetic-based weapons against us at some point.
When you say the data, you mean like the data from, because there's a bunch of companies that do it, right? So you mean like just in general, like the space?
Just in general, and not against one particular company.
Yeah,
because I'm in a great mood, but
it's
I
alarming.
mean, that could be true for any hospital that you go to. I mean, all the data is a swab, right? Of your, it's a saliva swab.
Yeah.
So I mean, hospitals have blood, they got urine, they got that. So I mean, if that, I'm with you, but if that's the case, then we're all screwed. And to go even further, I mean, if you have TSA, then they have your fingerprints, they have your retina, they have your retina information. So I mean, we live in a day and age now where, I mean, there is no privacy.
Your privacy's been dead,
and everybody has your information. Like I said, I mean, if you've taken a drug test before, like you give it, like everybody's information is all over the place. So theoretically, that could be done at any level possible, right?
Yeah. If they come out with a lemon pepper swab, though, that's when you know the attack on.
Let's find all their DNA
for real
and biohack their DNA.
Interesting.
Maybe it's happened already.
Like what do we know?
Could be Supercell. It's like Supercell, right? That's the premise of the show.
Yeah. Anything is possible.
Believe me, I believe you.
Yeah.
For sure.